Solicits. We have solicits for July, and we have some juicy tidbits within these solicits. So we're going to work through as we do. We'll tackle things as we get to them. And the first thing on these solicits is Superman, Son of Kal-El, Issue 1, which is notable because not only is this a new book, this is actually the Superman book now. Superman as a book is not here. It's gone, and it's replaced with Superman, Son of Kal-El, which is obviously Jonathan. More notably, though, this is not Philip Kennedy Johnson. He's still doing action. That's still going. Yep. His run's still continuing with that. It turns out his few issues of Superman were just a lead-in to set up the very separate book, which is Tom Taylor doing Superman, Son of Kal-El, and this is launching in July. $4 book, no backup.
No, there's a backup.
There is a backup.
Is there?
Yes, it's continuing the Tales of Metropolis.
Well, it says $4. It's only 32 pages, so that means the main story must be short.
Yeah, maybe there's a typo somewhere.
Yeah, because it says $3.99 and then $4.99 for the card stock, which is normal. But there's a Jen Bartel cardstock variant, which
is gorgeous.
Might be worth the extra $1 for sure.
It might be.
Well, it's a 1-25 though, so the store sells it at cover price.
Yes. Yeah, see, I feel like because it says $3.99 and 32 pages, that's more likely to be right. But then again, if it's copy and pasted from the one section, maybe they're just both wrong. But then again, all of the other prices all match up with that $3.99.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say, if there is a backup, I think it's interesting to me, and it tells me that this was never meant to be originally. They didn't plan for this to be its own book. Like, I think it would have just carried on in Superman, and they would have just carried on from whatever number it would have been. Because the backup is just apparently just continuing the Jimmy Olsen backup that we've got going right now. Yeah,
so that actually has to finish, or maybe that finishes in the issue before this. And this is, and the typo here, or the mistake is just that they've copy and pasted in this.
That could be because it says Tales of Metropolis continue. Jimmy Olsen gathers his misfit heroes, including Ambush Bug and Gangbuster. So we've already had the Bibbo story. We've had the Ambush Bug. Now we'll be getting Gangbuster.
I want to go back and check.
Check June's Superman solicit and see what it says.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Just to see if it's the same one.
Because that could be possible. The explanation for this. But yeah, so so
Superman is said too many times to just search.
I'll just put Superman then the hashtag for the issue number. I've Control F many solicits, so I've learned the tricks.
But it doesn't look like Action has a backup, and that's just a full 40 pages.
Superman last issue just says, elsewhere back home on Earth, Jimmy Olsen leads his misfit team on the hunt for Sinister Projectress. So that's different text. So it's not a copy and paste job.
Yeah.
Curious to see what happens there.
But then it says if you read in Action, I feel like these going up late has really messed things up.
Yeah, there's mistakes somewhere here. Either there's no backups and they're $4 books, or they're $5 books and they have backups. But so we'll see. I mean, the fact that this is continuing the backup story would lead me to think that maybe it is got a backup because it is continuing one that's already started. But we'll see. But anyway, Tom Taylor is now the Superman writer, but it's not Clark Kent. It is John Kent. That is surely, and given that we have had a good significant taste, I would say, of what Taylor would do with John Kent Superman through Deceased, I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited by this.
I really think it's something that he has managed to write the son of Batman, but Dick Grayson, and now the son of Superman, in both ongoing books right now. That's a feat. So
that is pretty cool, actually. It's almost like, and I'm not saying that he wouldn't have got this anyway, but it's almost like what he did in Deceased might have even convinced a lot of people, in positions of power to make these calls to go, hey, he could easily handle these books. We can give him these big characters, and he's clearly going to knock it out of the park. So why don't we?
Yeah, and it definitely feels like Future State was tipping the hand at that, right? Like even more than we were aware of.
It does seem like it's in terms of possible futures, and as far as those go, it's a lot more of a mission statement as to the direction that they wanted to head in, rather than just, oh, here's a fanciful idea.
Yeah, and while I was obviously mixed on those Superman stories with John and Future State, it wasn't Tom Taylor writing those stories, and I think that's the key difference. That was someone else.
Big difference.
We have John Timms on the art here for this issue as well. So the fact that we're going to have 2 ongoing Tom Taylor books plus the mini still going come July makes me happy.
Been teasing there's more announcements to come over the rest of the year.
Well, Tom, I can only be so happy, okay? I like don't make me too happy. Equilibrium must be maintained. But what a special treat of an announcement for episode 250. I am pleased with that. But there was actually another new Superman book, which this one came out of nowhere for me. I didn't see this coming out. I just looked at the solicits and went, wait, what's this? So
we've known this was actually coming for a little while because it leaked on Amazon as the collection, like a couple of months back.
I mean, I believed I maybe just forgotten about it, but it's not been heavily reported on.
But was it leaked with this creative team or just the title?
No, the full creative team.
So, well, like me, I'm Connor. I remember every little thing that leaks.
I remember interesting things that leak. Yeah.
So this is Superman and the Authority Issue 1. Grant Morrison writing with Mikkel Janin on the art. This is a 4-issue mini, $5, 40 pages, 4 issues. I mean, as much as I am hit and miss quite a bit on Grant Morrison, I cannot say that I am not super interested in trying this.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird because I care very little about the Authority as a rule, because I care very little about everything Wildstorm as a rule.
Yeah,
as you do.
But it's got Manchester Black on the team, potentially even leading the team, which is interesting. Obviously, Morrison, big fan. Janin, fantastic. And then the fact that, because when we heard this and we saw the design for Superman on the front, it looked like, because he's got the belt, but he hasn't got the red undies. So we thought, is this like a weird out of continuity sequel to his New 52 stuff? But everything about it sounds like it's completely in continuity with, especially what's going on in Action Comics and the War World stuff.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I mean, I agree. I'm not really big on the Authority or any of that stuff. I don't really care, but I like
what was
Janin's
Manchester
art.
Black's team name?
The Elite.
Yeah,
the Elite. There we go. But just looking at this team on the cover, right? You got Apollo and Midnighter. You got a new Light Ray. It looks like Enchantress. What looks like a new OMAC. And then Natasha Irons. So quite an array of characters. So and they all kind of also fit that Authority. From what I remember seeing the ads way back.
I'll give it a fair shot. I'll give it a fair shot.
I think it'll be relatively important because it says here, new limited series helps launch an all-new Superman status quo, setting up story elements that reverberate across both Action Comics and Superman Son of Kal-El in the months to come.
So that's interesting.
I think it might be potentially an essential read for continuity.
I wonder if is there something planned with Morrison Superman wise. Not that he's replacing either of those 2 books, and I'd be mad if he did, because those runs are just really getting started. But is there a plan for another super book of some kind that Morrison's going to keep doing, or is he just jumping in here because he thought this would be a fun thing to do?
Yeah,
I suspect the latter. I know he's dabbled with the Authority before. I think he's a big fan, so I think he could have probably jumped at the chance, if anything. But I mean, who knows? He always says, "Oh, I'm done with superheroes," and then there's one more book, right?
Yeah,
I'm done with superheroes. Oh wait, I've just fallen into a pit of 50 superheroes.
We're gonna uproot the Green Lantern for a couple years because I'm done with superheroes.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, because he sells and has such a name behind him at this point, editorial will shift anyone off a book for him.
Yeah. Which takes out the Action Comics 1033, which is a couple of nice covers. Notably, there was a change pointed out. You can't see it in the solicits here, but I did see it this week. They've slightly redesigned the Action Comics logo, starting with this issue. It's got the same sort of general idea, but it's a bit more sleek, and the line that goes across is a bit it's more stylish. Just
Okay.
slightly updated, not a big deal, but worth mentioning. And this is still Johnson writing this book, which is cool.
Mhm.
And this does indeed have a backup.
It's the same Midnighter one.
Yeah.
Yep. It's sneaky in there about the backup. So
But that's still $5, 40 pages. So I mean, that looks like it should have a backup.
right.
Just at the glance, but so that's cool. I'm happy to have a Taylor Superman book and a Philip Kennedy Johnson Action Comics book at the same time.
Oh, me too. And all three of those have a Bartel 1 to 25 variant.
Uh-huh.
They kind of form like a group. They're all of the same like
Almost
style.
like a triptych.
Mm.
Very nice. Like all of them.
Yeah, that's cool. So there you go. We have Static Season 1, Issues 1 and 2. Although the first issue isn't actually a July issue, they're sort of like retroactively soliciting this for June.
Yeah.
So it's not double shipping, it's just sort of getting this first issue in a little bit
this is
late.
because this was delayed because it was going to be a digital first or digital only. And they kind of, rejiggered their plans due to retailer outcry.
Retailer outcry.
Apparently there's buzz they might be doing the same with Zdarsky's Justice League as well.
Yeah, we talked about
that'd be
that
cool.
last week.
Yeah. So that's Vita Alea on that. So cool. If you're looking forward to that. Art by Chris Cross. Well, actually, sorry. Layouts by Chris Cross and finishes by Nicholas Draper Ivy. Very specific there, but worth mentioning. That's what they've put down. Then similar vein, we have Icon and Rocket Season 1, Issue 1, which is Reginald Hudlin writing with Doug Braithwaite on the art. So also coming in July. And then we have something completely new, and we have DC once again dabbling into the horror comics, which I am delighted by this. I mean, even though this one is a bit of a tie into a thing, they did specifically point out when they announced this that they have more horror books they want to announce as part of this line in July for October. So we're going to be getting an October batch of horror books again, which is neat.
This is exciting.
This kind of feels like the next step after Hill House. Maybe because he's not as directly involved in these, but they saw the success of that line. Well, we could do something with that.
Yeah, I've got a feeling we may even still see Hill House again, but this is like, okay, well, that's like on hiatus for a bit. We're going to do just another batch of DC horror books, and it's just called DC Horror. This line, notably, it doesn't say Black Label in the front, which I think is a bit weird. But
well, because it says DC Horror Presents, so it's almost like it's a whole sideline.
Or maybe it's just not Black Label because this is meant to be more of a teen, like,
right?
No, it's 17 plus. It says on the cover.
Oh,
it says on the barcode.
It's just weird because we do have still new Black Label books being announced, so it's weird to me that this isn't. It could still be DC Horror Presents, but just under Black Label. So it's a bit odd.
The Tynan book that's coming out, what imprint was that on?
That's Black Label.
Is that Black Label?
And yeah, because issue 2 is like later in this, so I remember checking it again. So
damn.
So it's a bit weird.
Maybe that was the back door,
Yeah.
Like retroactively, that would have been DC Horror.
But this is a 5-issue book. This is actually DC Horror Presents The Conjuring the Lover Issue 1. This is actually a prequel lead-in to The Conjuring 3 that's coming out this year. Now, I'll check this out, and I enjoy those movies well enough. Admittedly, I am more excited for non-tie-in stuff later, but
sure. Honestly, it's a bit of a surprise to me that Warner hasn't done much of this before.
Yeah.
You'd think they would have done, right? Because why not? They own them both.
We have a backup story in this as well by Scott Snyder, with art by Dennis.
Him returning to his horror roots is pretty cool.
That's neat. And what's worth mentioning, this is a $4 book with a backup, so they are pricing this slightly less than the mainline books in that sense.
This also says 32 pages.
Oh, maybe it's just a shorter main story. Never mind then.
I wonder if they maybe, because they've done this in the past every so often, not put ads in to certain issues.
Possibly.
To kind of like Image do this a lot as well, actually, especially with first issues where they'll do no ads, just so it's still the same page count in the solicits, but works out like you've got more story.
Yeah, the variant for this, which is just the black, white, and red cover, I think is kind of nice. Yeah, I'll check this out. I'm looking forward to looking at this, even though I'm definitely more excited for original horror stuff that will come in October. That said, though, if they do a whole line where everything's like, like here's a horror comic series based on other properties that Warner Brothers own.
What else do they own?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mm-hmm.
they own New Line. They technically own Friday the 13th, but obviously that's in a bit of a
Basically,
pickle.
go look at the first 4 or 5 deceased variants.
Yes.
Yeah. Tim pointed out too that this might mean that they might be reprinting some of their older horror stuff that was through Wildstorm or Vertigo, one of the two. Which
Probably Vertigo.
I know Jason Aaron did a 2-part Friday the 13th story that is impossible to track down. So
yeah,
that's pretty exciting.
I mentioned the backup. So the main story is David L. Johnson, McGoldrick, and Rex Ogle, writing art by Jerry Brown. What's interesting is that it says here 2-page ad art by Dave Johnson. So is that like an in-universe ad that takes up 2 pages that they've got like comic art for? That's interesting.
Maybe.
Possibly.
So this is another one of these backdated ones. So the first issue, this is actually a June issue, and issue 2
is when the movie actually comes out, right?
Yeah. And issue 2 is coming out in July. I actually like, because it's like an old paperback cover. They've got it's like an old book sitting on a table.
I think it's meant to be a VHS.
Oh, it's a VHS, sorry. I didn't scroll. Look, I'll be honest, the images on this stupid Solicits are so big.
So goddamn big.
That I didn't see the bottom. So, yeah, this says VHS at the bottom.
I will let you off, because the only reason I can see them all in one go without needing to scroll for the other half is because I have it on my vertical monitor rather than
there
my
you go.
normal one.
So issue 2 is out in July. Issue 1 is actually out in June. So again, it's another backdated Solicit.
Different people on the backup story in the second issue. There is one.
Sure.
Shay Grayson and Juan Ferrer on art.
And Ferrer's I've not seen his art in a while. I'm happy to see that.
That's a good.
You should
so it looks
check
like
out
the
Hawkeye
backups are going into the Warren's Haunted Artifact Room from Annabelle Comes Home.
Ooh.
So that'll be fun. I want to know more about some of this.
So yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Some non-superhero stuff to look at in the show later in the year is always fun. Suicide Squad Get Joker issue 1. This is a 3-issue Black Label prestige book by Brian Azzarello with art by Alex Maleev and Matt Hollingsworth. I have to admit, Maleev's name does make me a little more interested than I otherwise would be.
I mean, I'm interested in every single name there. Azzarello, love it. Maleev, finally something I can read that's not with Bendis.
Yeah.
I'm there for it. And Hollingsworth has some fantastic colors. So I'm there for that.
Yeah, I don't know who Hollingsworth is, which is why that's the only reason I didn't mention him.
He's a colorist.
Yeah. Okay.
He's a colorist.
So this is actually a slightly advanced solicit. This is actually the start of August. These solicits are all over the place. So this is the start of August. This is coming out. It's a 3-issue prestige book, so it's a 48-page, $7, but it's prestige plus format, so it's the bigger pages with a different format and all that jazz.
I would have said I would expect this every other month, but website who we don't like to give credit to has actually been talking about this very specific book from Azzarello for about 2 years now.
So it may just all be done.
It might well be, yeah.
Or at the very least, they're so far ahead that
it's possible, yeah.
So I'll read the description for this then, since it's a completely new thing. Critically acclaimed best-selling author Brian Azzarello and Eisner Award-winning art legend Alex Maleev collaborate for the first time in this 3-issue oversized Prestige Plus format Suicide Squad series pitting Red Hood, Harley Quinn, Firefly, and more of DC's most villainous... I like Firefly being in there, actually. That's a nice pick. Against the Joker. When Task Force X Amanda Waller sets her sights on Batman's greatest foe, she enlists the Dark Knight's former partner Jason Todd to track down the Clown Prince of Crime and put an end to his mad reign of terror. Do you know,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea that Jason's brought in, not as a criminal with a bomb in his neck, but he's brought in as like the straight guy to lead them, because he's not a complete...
He's the Rick Flag.
Yeah, he's not a complete psycho that, you know, the rest of them are.
Yeah, and he definitely knows the Joker. It's like, hey, you've got insight on this.
Yes, and obviously it's out of continuity, because Harley Quinn would make no sense in continuity right now to be on that team.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's a Black Label book.
Yeah, it's Black Label. Yeah, but just worth mentioning. So cool. Very neon cover as well with the Joker colors with the greens and the pinks.
Yeah, I'm here for that. Apparently, there's a variant by Fornes, which I don't think they've
it's not there yet,
but is probably stunning.
Oh, it's probably lovely. Probably. So there you go. We got a new prestige book. Not in July. This is the start of August, but that's when that's happening. We have the Batman Catwoman Special Issue 1. We knew this was coming. This is a break in the Tom King book, presumably to give Clayman his break to catch up. But no worries, because this special is Jean-Paul Leon on art. Obviously, Tom King still writing. It's a $6 48-page book. Honestly, Leon's name on this is like That's all I need, because he did that two issue arc in Detective during the New 52, and I loved it. And I was like, yes, give me more of this guy.
I don't remember that.
That was good. Yeah, it was in the middle of a run. There was like a 2-issue break in the middle of a run. It was okay, but that 2 issues was great. But anyway,
Well, during the New 52, it started with Layman. So if it was during that one,
it wasn't. It was whoever was after that.
He had the
then that
Manifold
was,
Boots one, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
They had a break for 2 issues, and it was Jean-Pierre Laurent on art, and I can't remember who was writing those 2 issues, but it was really good. So that's just cool. Obviously, if you're reading Batman, Catwoman, this is just a nice.
This is you got to pick it up anyways.
Yeah.
So.
And also that Lee Weeks variant.
I didn't actually check the variant. Let's have a look at the variant.
I think is that not the first one, not the Lee Weeks?
It is the
Just by
variant.
the look of it.
Yes, that is Lee Weeks' variant. The other one's actually not bad either. The painted one. But cool. Something we already talked about, so I'll just quickly list them here. Batman Secret Files Huntress Issue 1, which is out at the end of July, and Batman Secret Files The Signal Issue 1, which is out early July. So that is cool. And then next up, this was something that was announced this week, and I can just see Matt, the smile coming from his little happy face.
He's scrolled ahead. He knows what it is now, and he's excited.
Yeah.
And I am too, Matt. Right here with you.
Yeah, so this is Blue and Gold Issue 1. This is a 8-issue miniseries written by Dan Jurgens, art by Ryan Sook, which is a good get. This is 8 issues of, Blue Beetle and Booster Gold.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's about them tackling social media, I believe, was the pitch.
So, regardless of anything else, Matt is going to be over the moon for this for 8 months.
Yep.
Starting in July. So.
Also, that Dave Johnson variant, which is the main one, the playing card, the first one these round shows. Oh, love it.
That's fun stuff. Yeah, I actually like the main cover. The Ryan Sook main cover, I think, is also quite nice.
Oh yeah.
That cover. Alien invaders repelled. Justice League saved. About time we get our own book. I can't wait for this.
I'm liking this trend of them not trying to do ongoings and just saying, no, let's do full 8 or 10 issue books on characters, and if they do well, they can get a second season. But they're not trying to.
I would much
overshoot
rather
these things.
have an 8-issue series of Blue and Gold than the state we've been in for the past, 10 years.
Yeah, 6 issues of a book that was supposed to keep going of Blue and Gold that then doesn't get finished. This is a better method if this is what makes them work. So Matt is delighted, and honestly, I will give this a fair shot. I like the characters well enough. More Blue and Gold talk of a sort later when we talk about the Flash. But next up, Justice League Infinity Issue 1. This is something we were mentioning earlier, right? Was this the one we talked about earlier? A little bit?
No, you're thinking of the Zdarsky one.
I'm the Zdarsky.
That's a different name. That's a different one. This is a continuation of Justice League Unlimited, the cartoon.
Yeah, this is a 7-issue miniseries that follows that continuity with J.M. DeMatteis and James Tucker writing with Ethan Beavers on art.
James Tucker was writer and producer on that show. So presumably he's there coming in with the ideas, and then DeMatteis is kind of converting that into a comic script. Yeah,
this is neat. It's probably a low priority for me, I think, out of everything.
It falls in line. We've got the animated Adventures continues. We've just had a bunch of that. We've got coming up the Batman 89 and the Superman one, right? It's coming. Yeah, so it's like it kind of falls amongst those where we've had a lot of these continuations of stuff, and most of them I'm sure are pretty solid and neat, but I rarely feel the need to check them out.
Yeah. So that is that. Then we got Shazam Issue 1. It's a 4-issue miniseries, and it is by Tim Sheridan, who's doing Teen Titans Academy. So presumably this will be tying into that over the course of it. Art by Clayton Henry on this. Variant cover by Gary Frank is a nice thing to see, though.
No, the Steve Lieber variant, though, is the most... I didn't know that Lieber had this style in him.
Is that the black and white?
Those...
Yeah.
It's like one of those ones when you're watching a history documentary and they're like, they pull it from an old manuscript.
Right. So... Don't get me wrong. The Gary Frank cover is great because every Gary Frank.
Yeah.
Cover
Shazam's standing in what looks like a volcano.
Yeah.
It looks great.
It does, but
I wish I cared about this story though.
I mean,
it's hard to care as someone who didn't read Teen Titans Academy, not reading Suicide Squad, and also really didn't like what they were doing with Shazam in the Future State stuff.
I'm still in for issue 2 of Teen Titans Academy. If I'm still reading Teen Titans Academy in July, then I'll read Shazam issue 1. If I'm not reading Teen Titans Academy in July, if I've already dropped it by then I'm not reading this. So that's kind of
apparently it doesn't really say in the solicit text, but in some of the other press release stuff, they talked about how it's kind of a essentially Billy Batson puberty is the story.
Okay, I'm not against that as an idea. But hey, for some reason, next is the Batman Fortnite 0-point hardcover. Yay!
For some reason, being it is the best-selling comic in most stores this past week.
Aye, mainstream trash. Okay, mainstream trash.
And has a hardcover collection, including a bonus code unlocking 7 DC-themed Fortnite digital items.
Look, so, I know
Matt barely understands what you're saying. He's just saying it.
None of us care about Fortnite. None of us care about Fortnite, and that's fine. But if this gets people into comic stores, if this gets people onto, especially younger people who play Fortnite, and then onto DC Universe Infinite, which is where they're also giving away codes, and gets them to check out other stuff, that is only a good thing for us.
All right. I don't know. That doesn't mean I want to talk about it, though. I'm not dismissing its existence. I just don't care.
You kind of are.
I don't want to talk about it. All right. I don't have to pay attention to it. I'm not fine. It exists. If it gets people into comics, then great. But I'm not going to pretend to give a shit about it. I'm not doing that.
Wait till Tynan uses one of the Fortnite characters in his Batman run.
And I'll be sending a harshly worded tweet to Mr. Tynan expressing my disinterest.
You won't even know it's a Fortnite character.
I won't know. Unless they make it abundantly clear, like when he shows up, there's like a Fortnite pun or something.
It does like the L dance.
I wouldn't recognize that, but yeah, sure.
What's an L dance?
It's the Fortnite dance. Does the loser thing, and they do a bit of a dance with it.
I don't know.
No.
You would recognize if you saw it because it was all over. Especially you, Matt. With your workplace, you will definitely have seen it.
I just know the floss, and I never want to see that BS again. Ever.
How does it translate to a comic, that one, I think, without multiple panels?
Fortnite is the worst. Okay.
What's next?
Joker Harley Criminal Sanity hardcover. It's nice that that's finally finishing. And I'm actually curious to go back and read it when it's all done, because I fell away because it was like the release schedule became so wonky that it was hard to keep up with. We got a couple of the young graphic novels. We got Teen Titans, Beast Boy Loves Raven. So
it's the Piccolo and Cami Garcia book.
Yep. And then we have Unearthed, the Jessica Cruz story, which is cool. That's Lillian Riviera and Stephen C. on art. So, or sorry, Steph C. I don't know why I said Stephen. Yeah, Steph C. I'm blaming Matt for he said something over me, like I couldn't. My brain wasn't thinking, so I'll just blame Matt. And then there's Wonderful Women of the World, which is a Wonder Woman book. Well, she's on the cover at least. They got various listed for story and pencils. It's an anthology series celebrating noteworthy women from around the world.
Interesting. Cool. Best-selling author Laurie Halls Anderson gathers women and non-binary writers and artists to reveal the women making our world better day by day. Real-world heroes from the fields of business, activism, science, and pop culture.
That's interesting. So is this like straight-up comic stories, or is this something?
So it looks like
a little different.
Because it says story and pencils by various. So
yeah, I'm just wondering, like, are these fictional stories, or I guess what I mean, rather than are they comics, are they fictional stories about these various people, or are they actually just telling the true stories of these various people?
It could be a mix and match.
Yeah, I'm curious. It seems like a neat idea, especially for something to give young readers. Sounds like a really good idea. American Vampire 1976 issue 10 is coming out, so that's trucking along. We have Batman issue 110 by, of course, James Tynion IV and Jorge Jimenez, so that's going along just fine.
Looks like he's fighting John Walker.
With like a almost Hawkman-esque mask, not the horns, but like the nose I'm looking at. He's got like a sort of Hawk-esque thing.
Seeing the flag and the armor, I was just like, that's,
Can we talk about that jock variant, though?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'll look at the job fair. Oh, it's a very pretty cover. I will concede such a thing. We have Batman Superman 20, Jin Lou Yang continuing that. Very cool. Batman Reptilian issue 2, continuing the new Black Label book by Ennis and Liam Sharp.
Mr. Freeze can't catch a break. Tried to get groceries last time. Yeah. No. Some reptilian monster has kidnapped him and hung him upside down. Send him for a snack. At least he knows he'll be cold.
Oh dear. I'll be honest. I think I glossed over that was even Mr. Freeze because obviously the art style is very like just kind of blends into the horror around him. But yes, that's definitely Mr. Freeze's dome and his eyes. Batman: The Adventure Continues Season 2, Issue 2. So that's continuing along. Batman the Detective Issue 4, which is 4 of 6 on Taylor's mini. Batman Urban Legends Issue 5. This will be interesting to look at the following month because we'll have a replacement for one of the ongoing books. But there is a Batgirl story in this one, which may be a one and done. It doesn't actually kind of indicate which way or the other. But
I think it's going to be the Bennett story because I know all the other ones.
Yeah.
So
yeah, probably.
Either that or Fitzmartin, but I do love how they just break it down.
Fitzmartin's doing the Tim Drake one.
Did,
we spoke about last month.
Was Bennett the one who did the Batgirl story in that Future State?
I believe so.
Yeah. Okay. Mixed expectations then, but
yeah, I just love how they just break it down in here by the character. Red Hood, Grifter, Tim Drake, Batgirls. Like perfect presentation.
It's concise. You know exactly what it means. You know, there's no confusion. Catwoman issue 33, continuing that run, really cool. Big stuff going down with Valor Valley, looking by the cover. Challenge the Super Sons issue 4, that's trucking along. Checkmate issue 2, just to remind everyone that that's back. We're finally getting the Bendis and Maleev Checkmate story. So that's coming. Crime Syndicate issue 5 is out in July. We got Crushing Lobo issue 2. Detective Comics 1039. And 1040, the 3 double shipping books from June seem to be double shipping again in July. I'll mention those when we get there, but that does seem to be a continuing
Interesting
thing.
With the backup still changing again. Tristan Jones doing the backup in 39. And then Dan Waters and Kyle Hotz doing the backup in 1040.
Are these one and dones, or is there 2 ongoing stories that are alternating in the backups?
They sound like one and dones, to be honest.
Not one dones. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Just curious. Future State Gotham issue 3. This is this awkward point where we haven't had issue 1 yet, but it's been the Solicits a few times. It's always when issue 4's in Solicits, we've just had issue 1. We can actually talk about it a little bit, give an opinion. But that's still trucking along. Green Lantern issue 4, heavily featuring Joe Mullen on the cover here, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Then Connor's favorite artist is back with Harley Quinn issue 5.
Hugo Strange looks so weird.
Everything by Ross looks weird.
But that one's like a bald guy with a big beard. It's hard to make that look that weird, and he managed it.
Infinite Frontier issue 2 and issue 3. So this is like the one other double shipping thing that's been added. But I'm going to be honest, I actually kind of like events double shipping. I like the events to feel a bit more condensed, just to make them feel more eventy, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah, unless it's a big event with like tie-ins every week, so you've got something consistent. I agree. I like it getting through at a nice pace.
Yeah, so Zermanic was on both issues, which maybe implies that that they got ahead on this, which is cool. So this is a Williamson written event again, 40 pages, both issues. Very much looking forward to seeing what they do with this. There's covers for the first issue at least, maybe both actually. They may just all be bundled together. But there you go. So that's Infinite Frontier issue 2 and 3. So, which is funny because I almost forgot that was a thing. I almost forgot that starting in June, and then we're going straight into 2 of them in July. But there you go. Justice League 64 with a fairly pretty cover with all those hawks in silhouette. Well, one hawk and various other aliens, but mainly a hawk. So that's also double shipping, but that was in June as well. That's not a surprise. Same.
Sumit Kumar on the. It says art. I'm assuming that's the backup art with Rambi.
I would imagine so, yeah.
I mean, if we've got to take a break from Zamanico, Kumar's a great choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Bendis and Pugh, I think. So I think Pugh tweeted out he's working on 64.
Q is a solid fill-in artist for Marquez, I would say.
Some very nice covers across some of these as well. Worth mentioning, one of those covers there for the second issue, Chloe's tying into Checkmate with that cover. So, so Bendis having some synergy there. Justice League Last Ride, issue 3. This is the Zarsky one, which was mentioned there. That's issue 3 of 7. Coming in July, which obviously we're looking forward to because it's Zarsky doing Justice League, and he's actually doing a good Red Hood story right now, which means he can basically do just about anything. So cool. Legend of the Dark Knight issue 3 is next. This is Derek Robertson. To start with, I think he's on like the first 4 or 5, and then it's shifting to a new.
This says it's drawing to its conclusion, so it might just be 3. And
it might just be 3
next one.
Yeah, but I remember seeing like a blurb from DC. It was like, the first 3 issues with this team, so which heavily implied it's shifting to, which to be fair, that was the way Legends of the Dark Knight operated back when. If you go back to those early stories, it was like an arc from a team, and then it moved on to another team.
Even when they brought it back a few years ago, when they did it as a digital series, that was just like, it was anthology of like, here's different teams on each issue.
And there was a lot of good arcs in that initial Legends. Obviously, some of the ones in between weren't as good, but you had, the early stories of the Venom from that was the Morrison story, I think. Maybe no, he did Gothic, but there was various stories that sort of introduced things early in Batman's career that were really cool. So again, it's not actually started yet, so we'll see next month how issue 1 fares. But,
it's the sort of thing that we might check out even if we don't like that first issue. Maybe by the time issue 4 comes around, and it's a new team. Maybe check that out. It's
effectively an ongoing book of miniseries. And that means every time there's a new story with a new team, there's a reason to look at it again. Mr. Miracle, The Source of Freedom, issue 3, continuing that miniseries, 3 of 6. Nightwing 82. What is to say, except it is one of the best things going right now, so happy days. Happy days indeed. Robin, issue 4, Williamson's run on Damien, continuing. Cool stuff.
Also, a different artist already. I'm surprised that Melnikov is taking a break after only 3 issues.
That's fair. Yeah. That's a nice Rose cover, actually, though. Presumably
that is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a Manipul.
Yeah. And you got Rorschach issue 10, gearing up to the end of that. With just a couple left. Ruby Justice League issue 4 is after that. Sensational Wonder Woman issue 5, that's collecting the digital first series. Strange Adventures issue 11, so that's another one that's even closer to the end for Tom King come summer. So that's, of course, got great covers as always. Suicide Squad issue 5, really focused on that Peacemaker character.
I can't possibly imagine why.
Also, looking like he's going to Earth 3 to take out some crime syndicate.
Yeah, it does a lot of that, doesn't it? That's interesting. The variant's actually kind of pretty, actually. It's just the Trinity of Earth 3. It's alright. Yeah. We have Supergirl Wonder Woman issue... Sorry, Supergirl Wonder of Tomorrow issue 3.
Woman of Tomorrow.
Issue 2.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm getting thrown off here. Clearly mid-thought. Yes, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow issue 2. Which obviously we're looking forward to. So as much as a couple of Tom King books are coming to an end, another one has just begun. Superman Red and Blue issue 5, that's still going. Teen Titans Academy issue 5, more of the Red X story going. The Dreaming Waking Hours issue 12 coming out. The Flash 772 is coming out.
It's a great cover.
It's actually a pretty good cover.
Yeah, neat. Only one cover to look at there for that one. That said, the variant's by Brett Booth, so maybe that's just a mercy.
Maybe that is the good one.
That's the mercy. Joker issue 5.
Interesting that Frank Avila's on art.
Yep. And Rosenberg's jumped in as a co-writer.
Jesus, it's like they want me. It's like they're trying to pull me back in.
They've got Sweeney Boo as the new ongoing artist for the backups. She's primarily done covers, but has dabbled with interiors, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, goddamn, Frank Avila and Rosenberg is a way to try and entice me back in, despite the price point.
But look at that, it's still $5.99.
It is, yeah.
So screw them.
If it was still $4.99 digitally, I'd happily still be getting it, but it isn't, so they can bite me. Next Batman Second Son issue 4, wrapping up the physical prints of that book, which is cool. And then the horror book that we mentioned way back at the start of these solicits, Nice House in the Lake issue 2 is coming out. Looking forward to this one. And then the Other History of the DC Universe issue 5 is finally coming out, wrapping up that mini-series.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's cool. And then the Swamp Thing issue 5, and I hate that all the Diz are grouped alphabetically. It infuriates me to no end.
It is, yeah.
But that's coming out, of course, and we're looking
Also,
at too.
a break issue. Not Mike Perkins on art. We've got John McCrae.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure they've thought about that in context of what the issue is for the story.
Yeah.
Truth and Justice issue 6 is coming out, and then Wonder Girl issue 3. Again, issue 3 is that awkward issue where we've not quite had issue 1 yet.
They've been teasing a bunch of variants this past week, and oh my god, all of them look amazing.
I want them all.
Very pretty.
I mean, these covers here are stunning, but like all of the ones that have been shared this past week for, I presume most of them for issue 1, to be honest.
Yeah.
But so good.
And then Wonder Woman is the other double shipping book with 775 and 776.
Connor, you see, we're out of the Norse and into what looks like typical mythology.
It does. It mentions a whole pantheon of gods. It doesn't specify which gods, though.
No. So
very interesting.
Pretty cool. And you got fairies in Elfheim. So
yeah, not regretting my decision. Wonder Woman Black and Gold issue 2 is coming out. Just to wrap up the solicits, you got Looney Tunes 261, Mad Magazine 231, and the Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries issue 4, and that is it. That's your July solicits.
I'm just glancing at the teams on Wonder Woman Black and Gold.
Sure.
There's a story in there by Tilly Walden, who I absolutely love. She is utterly fantastic. That story alone has made me want to read this issue. Just that's in there. It's like, okay, that's worth the price of entrance. And I'm seeing there's a story with McKelvey art, so I'm there for that issue.
Well, who is she? Who is this Tilly?
She's done a bunch of like indie books. The one it's just back there is On a Sunbeam, which is it's a wonderful like sci-fi adventure where it's in the future. It's a whole thing where it's all women, but not like in this weird way. Just it's never mentioned in the story, and you probably took like 200 pages to realize, but it's like this sci-fi done by way of like Miyazaki with the art. They have like koi fish as their ships. It's gorgeous. All I'm saying is that issue became worth checking out just based on those creators.
Sure. I mean, a lot of those anthology books do have good teams sprinkled throughout.